Hello and welcome back to True Crime Guys Podcast. I'm Michael.
And I'm Andy, once again.
Andy is back again. You're making a real habit out of this.
You guys better start getting used to it sooner or later.
I think some people are, and, others are fighting you tooth and nail, but that's to be expected. You can't please everybody. It's a different dynamic.
It's a different dynamic, folks. They're just going to come on to the later part of that. Not sooner. They're just going to be coming later.
That's right.
Nothing wrong with coming a little later. Sometimes it just takes longer for some others.
That's right. That's right. Very true.
Better to come later than never come at all.
That's right. And it's better to come on over now to our YouTube channel, because if you're listening to this wherever you listen to podcasts, we want to let you know that you can watch this podcast as well and see me and Andy's beautiful faces on YouTube.
Right now, I could be telling the listeners that we're wearing something really flamboyant or really,
Are you going to start doing that for every episode? That'd be great.
Maybe just at least the Patreon episodes. We're definitely getting costumes involved in the Patreon episodes.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to have a makeup team and everything.
Right. Well, I wouldn't even want to wear a costume for this episode, dude. This episode, fair warning, graphic content warning for this episode. Child abuse, grossness,
domestic abuse.
I want to give a big sarcastic thank you to Michelle New on Patreon for this awful suggestion that we are doing today. Yeah, wouldn't you agree, Andy?
I can't thank you enough, Michelle. Can't thank you.
Can't thank you enough.
The look on my face when I came into the studio, when Michael just looked, he was like, "How you doing today?" I'm like, "You know exactly how I'm goddamn." He's like, "Oh, did you study?" Yeah, you know I studied.
Yeah, you know I studied. So I regret it.
You see, I have a smile on my face coming in today.
It's a rough case, guys. Just be warned. This is one of the toughest cases I think we've ever had to study. It's beyond disgusting. It's beyond sadistic.
Just inhumane, really. I mean, it doesn't It doesn't even register as something you would think would still happen.
Right. And when you look into this case, not a lot of shows, YouTube channels, not a lot of podcasts have covered it, and I can understand why. Because, man, if I wasn't already so far into the timeline before I found out certain things, I don't know, Michelle. I might have pulled this one.
Yeah,
but we're done now, so we're going to talk about it. God damn it!
And we said this is a tough This is a tough episode. There's a lot of some trigger warnings might need to come out as well. But we're going to try and be as serious as we can on this episode. Yeah, we may make some light situations. We may try and make each other laugh just to keep us from dwelling on it too much. It is a really rough subject, but we're not going to make light of too much of this stuff right now.
There's not a lot of stuff to joke about, is what Andy's trying to say.
Yeah, I don't get to make a lot of giggles today.
No. But guys, speaking of Patreon, where we got most of our suggestions here lately, we are offering free trials still on Patreon, 7-day free trials. If you've always been curious, you want to see what all we have to offer there, you can listen for absolutely free for 1 week. Okay.
And we won't die after that week. This is a 7-day free.
Probably
trial.
not. You can't guarantee that.
I haven't had any reports yet of a weird 7-day thing. So you guys are safe. Yeah.
Right. You only die, I think, if you don't sign up at the end.
Yeah, nothing's crawling out of your.
That's the only thing.
Nothing's gonna crawl out of your ear pods. The ghost of Lauren's gonna crawl out of your ear pods.
Only if you don't subscribe. That's all I'm saying. Also, something you don't have to pay for, you can check out our new show, Sandu Stories, wherever you listen to podcasts. I believe there's 3 episodes out now. Mm-hmm. They are released bi-weekly every other Tuesday, wherever you get your podcast. All right, so now it's time to get into this thing, dude. Right off the bat, I want to plug our main study source for this case. It is a documentary called Goodnight, Sugar Babe, The Killing of Vera Jo Reigel. And it is available on YouTube as well as Amazon.
I think so.
I believe it's available for Amazon on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I watched it on YouTube. So
yes,
but it is free on YouTube.
It is free on YouTube, and just beware, guys. It is tough. It's confusing. It's a lot, but it's also like a train wreck. Honestly, it's tough to look away from.
It is very graphic.
It is very graphic.
Everything they talk about, they show it.
Yes.
It's not even like a allude to.
No, it's like an HBO documentary,
We've got
honestly.
Pictures of it. We've got everything you think that they have it. It's rough to watch, guys.
Yeah, rough to watch, and this is going to be rough to listen to. Let's get into it.
Yay.
We all sat down and was talking about it. Who's we? Me, Zach, Garth, Scotty, and Nicole.
But they took a belt. I told you about the belt part, right?
We all ended up, they told us the news, and boom, we all just went, told her to come on. As soon as Kevin left, we all ended up telling her, come on, we're going for a walk.
It was a piece to a bike, like it goes on the bike neck where the handlebars are, and it had bolts on it, and they put that around the belt and they slammed it and they hit her in the back with it. They continuously kept hitting her like that, and Danny was stomping on her head, and I got scared, and then I sat on the bed next to Sherry. Danny and Nicole made them drink their pee. They made her drink that and eat dog poop off of the floor. And they made her use a toothbrush up her behind, and they made her brush her teeth with it afterwards. They made her drink dish soap, I think it was, or laundry soap, or I wasn't in the kitchen or anything.
Zach stabbed her, Scotty stabbed her, Garth stabbed her. I stabbed her, Nicole stabbed her. We all took our turns. Then the knife got passed on, and it just kept getting passed around the knife.
I was so scared. I've never seen anybody do that to someone before.
All right, guys. Like we alluded to, our case this week is Vera Jo Reigel. So we're going to start back when Vera was born. I mean, this case is so confusing. There's so many names. I'm going to do my best to keep everything straight. Try not to confuse you guys. Andy, if I'm saying something that sounds confusing, call me out, and I'll try to clarify. But hopefully you guys have no problem following this. But I figure we might as well start with the birth of Vera Jo as good as anywhere else. So that's what we're going to do. She was born on July 11th, 1986. I didn't think it was a good, not very kosher to put the celebrity birthdays here.
Yeah.
Because Vera is our victim. She's not the killer. So we're gonna skip that this week. But she was born July 11th, 1986. Her childhood was ripe with disaster, even very early on, before she could even remember. Because when Vera was a baby, a woman who lived in the same apartment building as her parents tried to steal Vera and raise her as her own. That woman was named Sherry Brooks. And we will be talking a lot more about old Sugar Babe Sherry. Believe you me.
Way too much.
Yeah. That's her nickname, by the way, Sugar Babe.
Sugar Babe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kept thinking it was Sugar Bear for some reason. I kept seeing Sugar Bear whenever I'd see the things pop up. I was like, it's not Sugar.
Yeah.
Stop saying Sugar Bear. It's not.
Right.
My own head just kept saying Sugar Bear. It's not.
No, it's Sugar Babe, and we'll talk about how she got that nickname, and it is not fun. So, anyways, back to the series of unthinkable events that was Vera's life. When she was just 11 years old, her father raped her for the first time. Well, at least the first time that he was caught.
Yeah.
And as a result, Willard E. Reigel Jr. is about halfway through his 20-year sentence at Lima's Allen Correctional Institution.
Great. Good for him.
Yeah.
Good job,
In
bud.
Ohio, right?
Glad you ended up there.
And you would think that her father going to prison would be a good thing for her, but it would not stop the abuse. It's reported that her mother's boyfriends picked up right where her father left off.
Just a vicious circle already.
Yeah, I guess her mom had a type. In 2005, when Vera was 18, a stranger shoved her off her bicycle, hurting her badly enough to be hospitalized, according to a police report. And around the same time, she was hospitalized again when someone beat her up extremely bad. I guess, I don't know, she was like jumped by a group of people.
Either way.
I think we know who that might be.
Just mystery people.
Yeah, mystery people. At least we don't know for sure, but we're pretty sure it's it's the Brooks family. But the report said that she didn't press charges, which makes me think that it was this Brooks family even more, because she was probably afraid of retaliation, afraid of her attackers, which, that's understandable. Or it could be that Vera Jo was mentally challenged with a deficit hyperactivity disorder, which was according to her mother, Verna Messersmith. But despite low reading and math skills, she took special classes and earned her Findlay High School diploma in 2005. That was an eventful year for her, probably because that's when she first met Zachary Brooks.
I did see when they were talking about how, she did have a mental deficiency. They said that, she was an adult, but I think her mom probably classified her as probably the age of like an 8 or 9 year old.
Yes,
Like
that would be
mentally,
correct.
Yeah, it's like a 9-year-old. So
Vera was 24 years old when she died, and yeah, at that time she had the mental state of like an 8 to 9-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So, she was 19 years old when she first met 13-year-old, and you heard that right, 13-year-old Zachary Brooks, and began a romantic relationship. Zachary's mother, Sherry Brooks, Sugar Babe, immediately took her in as part of the family.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Zachary, Sherry, and the rest of the family treated Vera Jo kindly when she first moved in with them, but Vera Jo had no idea the mess she was getting into, nor the extent that the Brooks family would go, mainly Sugar Babe Sherry, to get what they wanted.
God, it's one of those things, just out of the frying pan into the oven type situations right here.
That's Vera's life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really
out
is.
of one bad situation into a worse one, almost. So let's meet this Sugar Babe, okay? Sugar Babe Sherry was the mother of a total of 9 children. Her name is Sherry Brooks, okay? Her name's not Sugar Babe Sherry, but that's what I'm going to call her.
Mm-hmm.
She was the mother of a total of 9 children. 4 of her first 5 kids were all taken away from her one at a time for blatant sexual abuse.
Yep.
She was even known, now this is rough, guys, I'm telling you, this with a warning. She was even known to perform oral sex on her children as infants. And this was witnessed by family members.
Yeah,
this is not hearsay. Also, she does not deny any of this in any interviews or in the documentary.
No, she doesn't. And
She
this
does
is
not
like,
deny this whatsoever.
I think it's her sister or something is the one who like walked in on her.
Yes.
Yeah, molesting one of her kids. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There's firsthand accounts, and her sister's not the only one. And it doesn't end there. Scotty, her first child, who still lives with his mother, actually has moved back in with her, is the product of an incestual relationship with her first cousin, who is mentally disabled and currently in prison. She called them kissing cousins.
Yeah, and she said that we're famously kissing cousins.
Yeah, she was
really
she was
famous
quite
about that.
she was quite proud of that.
Yeah, great thing to put on your resume.
Also, do you know what kissing is? Kissing is not having babies. You know
No,
what I mean?
it's not.
You're more than kissing cousins, but we're not going to go there.
You are coupling cousins.
Yeah. Her other 4 children were Michael, Maria, Joshua, and baby Sherry. The state removed 1-year-old Maria from the home after learning that she had been raped, and they're pretty sure Sherry raped her in some way.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if it was with an object or what, but this is a very disturbing situation where another family member was changing baby Maria and noticed that she was bleeding.
Yeah.
They called Child Protective Services. Sherry heard them on the phone with Child Protective Services and decided that she was going to take Maria to her mother's house to hide her, basically.
Yeah.
And, the cops didn't buy it. They just went and took Maria away from her grandmother's house anyways.
Yeah, because they said,
thank God.
I think I said something like the people were like, yeah, take her to the doctor tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because it was like after hours or something like that. She's like, take her to the doctor in the morning. We will do a full exam or whatever. But she was like, oh no, Mom, you just take Maria tonight. And she was like,
it was
you
really
never
weird.
let me take Maria. Like, you never let me.
She was extremely protective of the baby. That's why family members and friends think she's the only one who could have. Mm-hmm. Because she didn't let anyone else around this little girl.
Yeah, it was only her little girl. Remember that. She had three other children at the time, but she was very protective of her baby girl Maria.
Yep. And her baby Sherry as well. But baby Sherry never even went home with the Brooks family. She was placed into foster care at birth. So, lucky her. But that didn't deter Sugar Babe Sherry. No, sir. She was determined to have her some kids. And that she did when she had another round of offspring. And they consisted of Kevin, Zachary, Garth. Yeah, you heard that right. Garth Brooks.
Well, not Garth Brooks, but
But it is Garth Brooks.
It is, yeah, but not
Not once in the documentary did they say his full name, and it didn't even dawn on me until I was reading all their names in like a proper article, and I was like, Garth Brooks, really?
Well, did we actually clarify that his last name is Brooks?
It is.
Okay, you did look that in. I was like, 'cause
all
some of them maybe had,
four. Okay, Kevin, Zachary, Garth,
Yeah.
and Chucky. All 4 have the same father. His name is Kevin Brooks.
Yeah, Kevin.
Yeah,
Okay.
Kevin Brooks Sr., and then so the first boy born from him is Kevin Jr.
Yeah.
Okay, also known as Punky. We'll talk about him a little bit later. None of these kids were removed from the home, even despite Sherry's track record with her first 5 children. That's unbelievable to me, dude.
Yeah, she didn't go through any kinds of
It's like
training or counseling or any kind of courses or anything to prove that she was, capable of taking care of
No,
more children.
she just wore the authorities down.
Yeah,
she just
she
wore
just,
them down. They were constantly at her house. They were sick of it. They're tired of the 911 calls. She just wore them down, I think.
she's just a master manipulator and she can just make you think that she's the victim.
Yeah, she can. With her
good.
family, she's really good at that. But Sherry started over with a new man, like I said, Kevin Brooks Sr., who was the father of the last 4 boys. He's described as quite a pushover, the complete opposite of Sherry, and apparently the only one in the household who did not abuse Vera Jo.
I think one of the kids referred to him as a arch coward, and I thought that was just a great term.
Yeah.
He's an arch coward. I'm gonna start putting
Arch
that
coward.
in front of other things. You're just an arch this, arch
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's a great way to describe your dad. He's an arch coward.
Right? Yeah. It's like, on one hand, he didn't participate in the abuse, but on the other hand, he did absolutely nothing to stop it. And it's your household, it's your children, so yeah, kind of your responsibility.
Yeah.
But anyways, Sherry ran shit, okay? And she was, let's say, popular, I'm using quotes, in and around Findlay, Ohio, albeit for the wrong reasons.
Let's just say well known.
Well known. Famous.
Yeah, you were. We know who you are. Let's do.
Yeah, people referred to her as the female Charles Manson, though we're not sure who was more dangerous. But she was known to push meth and loved having that gang leader reputation. She ate that shit up, dude.
Oh, I think
She
she's
did.
way more dangerous than Charlie Manson.
I agree.
No, this woman literally got off on the control, the power, the fear.
Not to mention she preyed on children, infants.
Yeah, this is.
Infants.
Yeah, I mean, not to defend Charlie Manson, but let's not classify him with this kind of sick person. This like
Really? You're not...
I'm not going to defend Charlie Manson, but like
I feel like
he's
you're
not,
defending Charlie Manson a little bit.
He's not as bad as this woman right here. This woman is
Okay.
a monster.
Okay, we'll take that statement and run with it. Yeah, but Andy's right, though. Sherry was a bully and a manipulator. And even when she became disabled and confined to a wheelchair, I mean, she didn't change at all. It didn't slow her down. She was a sadist, and she enjoyed the fear that she put into people around her. She could easily convince her kids and others to answer her every demand.
Oh, yeah.
And you can tell that she had been scorned, and she wanted to pass that abuse along. And come to find out, Sherry was abused by her father as well as a child, starting when she was just a toddler. He was the one to give her the nickname Sugar Babe.
Yeah, that's the reason that nickname came about.
That's why it's so cringe, man.
Yeah, it's not exactly because she was sweet as sugar. It's
No, some people like to think that it was because she pushed meth into the community, but no, Sugar Babe came along way before that, unfortunately.
That was her nickname before the crime.
Yeah. Sherry was eventually removed from her home when she was older, but the damage was done. And she continued having sex with her father willingly, even after she married Kevin Brooks in 1991. Now, Sherry was born in 62. Okay, so she's almost 31 there.
Thank you for giving us this case.
Yeah. So anyways, now that all the children she had of custody of had grown, Sherry began to look for other women to have babies for her, and quickly noticed her best options were her son's girlfriends. She'd hoped to talk to them into getting pregnant and giving her the baby, and hopefully it was a girl.
She was obsessed with getting a baby girl. Like it was something weird about her, just mental state.
Yeah.
She was obsessed with getting a baby girl. That's when
She
that
was.
baby Maria got taken away from her, it like broke something too. Like it just
Seriously.
made it even more of a passion of hers to get a baby girl.
Absolutely. And then when Sherry was taken away, it amplified it that much more. I think she was sick of her boys, probably because they all grew up to be members of the Crips.
Yeah.
Or at least they claimed.
Real Crips
I don't know how big the Crip gang is in Findlay, Ohio, but they're members regardless.
I don't think they were given Tookie's blessing.
Well, listen, there's proof, okay? You can find photos taken of Sherry in a wheelchair throwing up gang signs, okay? Surrounded by her kids,
that is
who are also in gang.
That
in
is
the gang.
all the official,
That's
official stuff you need to be considered.
I think you just need a blue bandana and 4 to 5 people.
As long as you got one MySpace pic of you holding up a gang sign, gang.
You're good. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So Punky, or Kevin Jr., was allegedly the Findlay area leader of the Crips, believe it or not. But unfortunately, he was mysteriously killed on August 5th, 2010, after a car either swerved into him or he was pushed in front of it. Either way, he was hit by a car while walking down the road with his girlfriend. Sherry claims that his girlfriend at the time, Heather, caused the death of her son, saying she pushed him in front of the vehicle. And this was a lie, or, well, at least not proven. But regardless, Sherry wanted Heather to pay the price, so she paid one of Punky's friends to beat the hell out of Heather as she sat on the porch and watched. But all of this may have been for show, honestly. At least in my opinion, because it was well known that Punky was the only person Sherry was truly afraid of. He was the only one standing in the way of her having complete control of the Brooks household. Maybe Sugar Babe wanted that control back.
I think there's a little bit of truth to some of that. I don't think she was like she did. She seemed like she was very upset about her son's death. Like she seemed to have she kept his ashes on the mantle. She would like give offerings to his ashes sometimes. But yeah, at the same time,
but she's also very cold.
She's unstable in every way, every way, shape, and form. Like they said so many times in the documentary that she just lives in a fantasy world. Her mind, whatever she thinks is true. That you can show her evidence, you can show her footage, anything. She's not. It just doesn't break through to her.
No.
So yeah, it's like even after her son died, it didn't seem to really change too much of her personality, other than she now had like even more of a chip on her shoulder.
Absolutely, she was the leader now. Mm-hmm. You know, well, at least behind the scenes, because after Punky's death, the next Brook boy to step up and at least on the surface be the Crips' new Findlay area leader was going to be none other than Zachary Brooks, who is Vera Jo's boyfriend, obviously, that we spoke of earlier, 6 years younger than Vera Jo. Now, speaking of the happy couple, it was around this time that Vera announced she was pregnant. Sherry, as you can imagine, was over the moon, but she also knew that she had Vera Jo right where she wanted her, and the true Brooks family started to rear its ugly head.
Oh, God.
Sherry started treating Vera Jo more like a slave than a daughter-in-law, having her do household chores and rub her feet, all the while putting an insane amount of pressure on Vera Jo just to have a baby girl.
I did see something about Sherry has really bad diabetes, so she's like, she had to rub her feet every night. It was like one of her chores.
Somebody has to do it.
It's like her feet were so badly, corroded by diabetes at this point.
Yeah.
She had to keep the circulation flowing.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was. But yeah, she was. What was the other thing I was gonna say? I can't remember something else. But when she got pregnant, she was trying so hard to like push her into having a baby girl. She wanted her. She was like, but she also was trying to basically convince her to like, it's not gonna be your baby. It's my baby.
Right. Like she's like, you're having that baby for me.
She was like telling people around town, she's like, my baby's in there. That's my baby. My baby's in there.
Absolutely.
And I think she even convinced Zachary to sign over his parental rights while the baby was still in the womb.
Yeah, he had no problem with that.
He was just like,
that's why I say that she wanted Zachary to be quote unquote in charge of their little gang, because Zachary listened to mama. Mm-hmm. Always.
But yeah, like I said, before the baby was even born, she convinced Zachary, or she just told Zachary, you go ahead and sign your rights over to me.
He was fine with that. He was 16 when she was born. He didn't care. No, he's like, fine.
He's like, okay, less responsibility. I don't have to worry about anything. Okay.
Yeah. But like Andy said, even before Vera Jo was having the baby, Sherry was going around telling everybody that it was going to be not only hers, but also going to be a girl. Mm-hmm. Going to be a girl. And when it looked like the baby was going to arrive later than Sherry's birthday, she forced Vera Jo to drink 3 bottles of castor oil to hopefully force her into labor so the baby would be born on her birthday. It's like an old midwife's trick. Yeah. But you're supposed to, like, even if you need to do that for whatever reason, or if you want to do that, you're talking tablespoons max, like 1 or 2 tablespoons. You don't take 3 bottles of castor oil.
It's on Castor Oil's website. They even have like a thing on their website where they say, the old wives' tale of castor oil. It'd take 2 teaspoons of castor oil,
right,
to help push labor along.
Yeah, not bottles.
Not 3 bottles of castor oil. She made like a pitcher of orange juice and just poured castor oil into it.
Basically.
Yeah, that is the worst mimosa.
Yes, because she, like I said, she wanted this baby to be born on her birthday, and she almost did it. Baby Willa Dean was born on November 4th, the day after Sherry's birthday, and nearly 1 month before her due date. Mm-hmm. So she was born premature, and she spent her first few weeks of life in the NICU just so she could hopefully share a birthday with Sherry. Like, she risked this baby's life and well-being. You could have left her full term, let her be born a month later, and this baby would have had no complications. But because she wanted her to be born on her birthday, like that's part of what we're talking about, her living in this fantasy world.
Did you hear her get interviewed after this? What she said too? In her mind, she blames the baby. She's like, that baby just wanted to come out early and have potatoes and turkey with Momo.
That is so true. She did say that, didn't she?
That baby just wanted to come see her Momo.
She did say that.
I'm like,
she said she wanted to have Thanksgiving with her Momo.
I was like, that's in her mind.
Lord.
Like, you basically pulled a baby out of somebody and you think, that baby wanted to come to me.
Yeah.
That's the kind of fantasy she lives in.
Yep. Absolutely. And Vera Jo, she instantly fell in love with her baby, but was never given the opportunity to be a mother. She wasn't even allowed to touch her. And if she did, her now husband Zachary would beat her, as well as Sherry. Sherry also had like this, like a one of those old school scratching rods, those scratching forks, those wooden ones. Yeah, like a wooden back scratcher, old school one, you know. And she would just whack her in the face or in the head if she even got anywhere near Willa Dean.
Oh yeah, this wasn't like a ballpark when you got off of a gift stand. This was like one of those like old, like almost like a walking cane.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's got the little wheels on one side and the fork thing on the other that's curved.
Yeah, it's
probably
got like a monkey's paw that's just got talons on it. And you're like,
yeah.
Look at all the skin I just pulled off there.
Yeah, it was
sharp those old things were.
And then she didn't hold back. And Vera Jo tried to run away. She really did. But Sherry found out and had family members watch and stalk her while she was away. But even more of a deterrent was the fact that Sherry kept the baby in the bedroom with her at all times. Mm-hmm. And so we don't know for sure, but it wouldn't be a far stretch to think that Willa Dean suffered some abuse at the hands of Sherry. I mean, she was with this woman in private for a lot of time. A lot of time. And Sherry also threatened to kill baby Willa Dean if Vera Jo ever left.
Which I still think to this day that's the only idle threat that she ever really made. That's the one thing I don't think she would really do, is kill one of her baby girls.
Right.
So it's like, and all the threats she makes, all the terrible things, it's like, that's the only time I think she actually made an empty threat.
Yeah, but if you have the mind of an 8 or 9-year-old, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, of course. Vera would understand.
Not only that, you were terrified of this woman.
Oh yeah, she is
Someone
like
you get physically beat every day.
Yeah, they said towards the end of her life, Vera was like a broken puppy, just sitting balled up, looking down, looking around, looking down, and
yeah.
So yeah, but that's the only time when I read through this, I was like, I think that's the only idle threat she actually made.
Yeah,
because I don't think she would have hurt that baby.
Possibly not, but who knows, man?
Or at least hurt, like actually kill the baby.
Right.
Yeah, she'd hurt that baby.
But either way, now with Willa Dean as a hostage, Vera Jo was forced to endure awful abuse at the hands of the Brooks family. She had served her purpose, and now they basically had no use for her. Sherry, Zachary, and other members of the Brooks family began to beat Vera Jo almost every single day. Friends and neighbors tried to help Vera and called family services on her behalf. They were familiar with the house of horrors known as the Brooks home. They knew it was filthy and had no running water, forcing the family to urinate in a bucket.
Not even that. They also had a pig.
They did also have a pig and a dog that was allowed to use the restroom in the house as well.
Yeah, like literally that's just that level of dirty when you have a pig living in the house, like a full ass pig.
A full pig. Yeah. That's like Andy said. The Brooks family also had pigs living in the home, and most importantly, why Sherry had so many children taken away. They knew about this. They knew why. They knew about the abuse that Vera Jo suffered, and they tried. They really did. Yet when police came, Vera Jo lied to them due to her fear of Sherry and Zachary. Mm-hmm. Something else that played a huge role in this ongoing abuse was the fact that the police never spoke to Vera Jo alone. Sherry was always present. That just baffled me when I found that out. I'm like, that's just basic police work 101, right? You got to separate these. This is what I'm saying. Like they're worn down. They don't care. They're tired of the shit that's going on at this house. They don't want to deal with them. They don't want to be in this house. They don't want to deal with this family.
Well, and yeah, she's also. Oh, yeah, you finish what you're saying?
I'm just saying it's like they didn't want to take the extra time to take Vera Jo with them, or whatever it was. But I mean, like you can't. If you're interviewing Vera Jo and she's constantly glancing at Sherry to get permission for what she's saying, like. I feel like that's common sense. You need to separate these two people and see if their stories add up.
Yeah, like they said that Sherry would physically say the words, you can respond, you can talk, you can tell them.
Yeah.
And like Vera would not speak unless she looked at Sherry to speak. And I think they said several times, like she would lie to the police. She would tell them that she's Vera's caregiver, that she's Vera's mom, that Vera's mom was dead, like all these different things just to try and change the story around when different cops show up, different social workers show up, telling them all different things just that no one knows what's really going on.
Yeah, it was bullshit that they were even getting away with this.
Yeah.
And even though they were, Sherry didn't like the extra attention that Vera Jo was bringing the household. And soon Sherry and Zachary began planning on how they could get rid of Vera Jo and still keep Willa Dean. So, like a match to gasoline, Zachary's cousin, Daniel Bixler, Enter old Daniel Bixler. He'd been out of prison for 3 weeks after serving 3 years when he moved in with Sherry and the Brooks family. Daniel's father was the first cousin with whom Sherry had a sexual relationship with and bore a child. You know, the kissing cousins.
Yeah.
She was not Sherry's.
No,
Okay.
Daniel was not.
No, Danny was not hers, but he was her nephew, basically.
Yeah.
And Danny and her son Scotty, who she did have with her cousin, are technically cousins and half brothers.
Yeah, that's a great little relationship to have, right? When that family tree just keeps splitting, but then coming right back together.
Yeah,
How
it's
does that-
weird. It's like the branches grew back into the.
Yeah, just wrapped right
It's
back
just-
around. I
It's
don't like this.
terrible. But Danny, a self-professed killer, complete with a teardrop tattoo, and his 17-year-old girlfriend Nicole Peters wanted to experience the euphoria of killing someone. She wanted a teardrop just like her boyfriend. You know what's funny? His teardrop's like on the inside of his
I was
eye.
just
It's on
about
the
to say
nose.
that.
It looks like a bug.
I
I'm like,
was about to say that, but do you see where his teardrop is?
it's on the wrong side,
His
right?
It's supposed to come out of the outside of your eye or come down your cheekbone, like on
That's
the
what
outside.
I've always seen.
And his is like in the corner of his inner eye. It looks like he just got.
It's
like
on the side of his nose.
Yeah, it's like it looks he was using eyeliner and like smudge on his nose. Like
Maybe
it's
maybe you can put it on either side. Maybe having it on the nose side means something else.
Yeah, it's like the old earring thing on the.
Yeah.
If you have your left ear or your right ear. Yeah, it's
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah.
Where's your teardrop? Inside,
Yeah,
outside,
inside. Was it an accident or did you do it on
Yeah,
purpose?
it's like depending on where.
Was
it
it
is on the cheek.
manslaughter? It's manslaughter if it's on the nose.
Manslaughter,
No, I'm
first
just
degree,
kidding.
second degree, third degree.
Yeah, it just keeps moving.
That's how
But,
they
yeah.
classify the prison hierarchy, where your teardrop is.
Right. But either way, Nicole wanted a tattoo like her old boyfriend Danny, and Sherry knew that she could profit off this white trash Bonnie and Clyde, and they were the perfect pair to help her get rid of Vera Jo. And once Vera Jo's fate was decided, it was open season for the Brooks household.
What would the white trash version of Bonnie and Clyde be like?
I just told you, bro.
like Darlene and Cletus.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Danny and Nicole is not.
I mean, yeah, it's not- yeah.
It's not really that far off.
Danny and Nikki.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. What's up, creepers? Instead of hearing me struggle to try to find a decent segue into this next part of the show, why don't we take a little break and I tell you about a podcast that I love. It's called Excuse Me, That's Illegal. And my good buddy Leroy Luna will walk you guys through hilarious softcore crimes. You know, when you need to take a break from heavy hitters like what we're talking about today? Yikes. Anyways, let Leroy tell you about it. He's coming up next. We'll catch you on the other side.
Oh, hey there. You like true crime stories, right? Yeah, I know. Who doesn't? But I gotta admit, after a while, all those stories of murder and heartache, well, they tend to go straight to my hips. So that's why I, Leroy Luna, have created a podcast called Excuse Me, That's Illegal, where we'll take a hardcore look at some softcore crimes. No TED Talks on Bundy here. The letters BTK won't be coming from these lips. Unless he had a brother that used to steal library books. Suppose I'd be willing to go balls deep into that one if that were the case. Anyways, you'll hear stories such as the Mad Pooper, a female jogger who wreaked havoc in a Colorado Springs neighborhood, using one family's front yard as her own personal dumping grounds. If this kind of content sounds like it's up your alley, Excuse Me, That's Illegal is available right now on all your favorite podcatchers. So come join me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
But more serious, getting to a way more serious note here. We're getting up to the murder in the day of, but leading up to it, Vera Jo was tortured for 4 days, and torture doesn't even sound like enough, honestly. She was sodomized, she was beaten, she was raped, she was stabbed. Chucky, the youngest of the Brooks, attached a padlock to the end of a belt, and each person in the family took turns beating Vera Jo with it.
Chucky
Apparently,
is 14.
he's 14. Apparently, and he thought of that. Apparently, everyone but Kevin Brooks Sr., like we say, took turns beating Vera Jo. And I think Kevin Sr. was in prison at the time, or in jail. He was locked up temporarily for like 30 days or something
Yeah, I
like
think he
that.
had like a 30-day lockup or something during the time of the murder.
Yeah. But in the meantime, they would beat her, stomp on her head. Like I said, stab her in the legs and other non-lethal areas where they knew she wouldn't bleed out. And to make the whole situation even more disturbing, the beatings sexually aroused Nicole and Danny. And she and Danny took breaks from beating Vera to have sex. And then they would come out and beat on Vera Jo again.
Yeah, Oh, it got to the point where
It's
she was
twisted,
even like,
sadistic. That's what I'm saying.
yeah, they said Nicole was even getting into the point where she was getting so like excited during the beatings that she was like slamming her head into a dresser, like saying, "Can I kill her? Can I kill her? Can I kill her?"
Oh, bro.
And that's what Sherry was saying.
Yeah, guys, the documentary is rough.
Like
A lot
Sherry
of this
was
stuff.
repeating the scene to people, and that's how excited this was making Nicole.
Yeah.
To the point where she was literally like beating her and like walking over to Danny to start making out with him, and then having her beat him or having him beat her.
It's twisted, dude. It's twisted. But unfortunately, on March 26, 2011, Zachary, Danny, and Nicole forced Vera Jo to put on her shoes to take a walk with them. Vera Jo cried and refused, but she had no other choice. She knew exactly what was happening. And as Vera Jo walked out of the Brooks house for the last time, she said, "Good night, sugar babe." And that's where the title of the documentary was taken from. It was her last recorded words. I'm sure it's not the last thing she said. Because the group walked Vera Jo to the railroad tracks near the home, where they wasted no time and began to relentlessly stab her with a kitchen knife that they took from Sherry's kitchen.
Yeah.
The knife was so dull, it barely punctured Vera Jo's skin. And so their remedy for this was for her to get naked, so the clothes weren't in the way. And they continued to stab her again and again. And when they knew she was close to death, the group, being Danny, Nicole, and Zachary, laid her sideways on the railroad tracks and left her alone to die.
God.
The three of them then walked away, tossing the knife into a lake.
Did you happen to see where they said pretty much one of the last straws that seemed to have set Sherry off, that like really instigated these last few days of beatings?
Yeah.
What really set her off? Did you hear
There
about that?
were a few excuses. They were trying to blame Vera Jo for random things.
Yeah, I saw they were trying to like blame her. They said that she threw a brick at Sherry's foot. And
Yeah.
it was something Sherry made her go outside to clean a rabbit cage.
Yeah.
And she was taking the tarp off, and one of the bricks fell off the tarp and hit Sherry's foot.
Right.
And immediately Sherry is then going and telling her son Zachary that this bitch threw a brick at me.
Yes.
And then he just goes into beating her senselessly.
And this is what Sherry would do. It's like, did Sherry take place in the beating and the murder? No. But she also riled everyone up in her house to hate Vera Jo for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
Other than she wanted to keep her daughter. That's literally it.
One of the biggest things that did make so Danny, I don't know if you remember hearing about this. One of the reasons Danny hated her so much, like Danny had just gotten out of prison 3 weeks earlier.
Yes.
So Danny
I do.
just
You're
gets out
talking
of
about the
prison.
miscarriage.
Well, not just the miscarriage. I'm talking about the fact that Danny gets out of prison 3 weeks earlier, or 3 weeks earlier. He's been in prison for 3 years. One of the people said in the documentary that Sherry tells Danny that it was actually Vera who pushed her son Punky in front of the car.
Yeah, that was just one of the stupid
And it was
little
like
lies she came up with.
She tried to convince Danny that Vera was the one who actually murdered her son, Punky,
Yeah.
which was one of Danny's friends,
Yeah.
So she's trying, and again, there's not even proof that Punky was murdered. He was hit by a car.
Yeah.
That's the cause of death. He was hit by a car at night while he was walking on the road. But, in Sherry's mind, it's his girlfriend that killed him.
Yeah.
But then when the story needs to be something else for her, it's Vera that killed him now.
Right.
Like she can just change her stories and her reality whenever it needs to fit her situation.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like she's so juvenile in that way. She's like, "Oh, hate her because she killed Punky." Yeah. She killed Punky. That's what she
It was
did.
her. That was the whole. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you weren't there, but she did it. You can trust me.
And I think Nicole and Danny had a miscarriage. They'd gotten pregnant and had a miscarriage earlier on, and they blamed some type of stress induced from Vera Jo on it's ridiculous. It really is. That's why I didn't even put that shit in there, because it's ridiculous. It's just part of the bullshit and lies that you have to wade through to get the real story with this.
Because that's one of the things that they were trying to defend themselves with. But I think one of her other kids was telling the interviewers that she told Danny that Vera Jo was the one that killed Punky.
Yeah.
And it's just, because you can see Danny is apparently a hardened killer. He's got that teardrop eye booger stuck there.
Yeah.
But no,
well, he's a killer, that's for sure.
Yeah, at this point now.
So, back to the horrific scene. So they get rid of the knife, they throw it into a lake, and the group left her on the tracks. They knew a train would soon be by, and they hoped that it would run Vera Jo over and basically destroy any evidence that they were ever there. Because they had seen a local neighborhood boy get hit by a train in a similar fashion, and they said that there was nothing left of him. He was a skateboarder. I guess he was trying to like jump the tracks or whatever. He got hit by passing locomotives. They were like actually coming each way. And I guess he was trying to jump between them, and it did not work out. And he was basically made into hamburger meat, is what they say in the documentary. And they thought that if they could get that same result with Vera's body, there would be no way to tie them to the crime.
True. Was that just a random boy, or was that one of like Vera's nephews? Or
everybody in this neighborhood knows each other, dude.
I couldn't remember if they said that was one of like Sherry's nephews or something.
Probably.
Or somebody's cousin.
Everybody's somebody's cousin or uncle or nephew or second removed, whatever.
Whole lot of kissing going on in these cousins.
Yeah. But unfortunately for them, Vera Jo, with her last bit of strength, actually curled her body into a fetal position and pulled her any limbs and head off of the rails and was now positioned between the rails. And although she died in agony, obviously, and alone, the train hardly touched her. And it didn't even move her body at all when it passed over. A locomotive and 8 train cars passed right over top of her. When forensics was there, they actually measured the height of the train car. The distance is 13 inches. From the bottom of the tracks, the middle of the track, to the bottom of the car, her body was at 12 inches.
Because she was also, at this point, she's very skinny. She's very almost emaciated at this point.
Of course she is,
very
man.
beaten and she has no energy.
With the way they're treating her, you think they're feeding her and like letting her eat and making sure she's hydrated? No.
No, they said that was one thing that was so strange, because apparently they did, like after these most recent beatings, apparently they did take her out to lunch like the next day at the soup kitchen across the street.
I thought to say they didn't take her out to lunch. They took her to a soup kitchen.
Yeah, they took her to the Salvation Army across the street. Yeah. Either way, to get lunch, they actually took her out of the house, but like...
This was during the 4 days of torture.
Yeah, but they just like made her go in and sit down. Somebody else came to get her food and bring it back, and they interviewed people at the soup kitchen, and they were like, "Did you see that girl? It looked like she went through a car windshield."
Yeah, everybody was very suspicious. And it didn't take long for the police to question the Brooks family, mainly because you could see the tracks from the Brooks home. Dope.
And again, famous.
Yeah.
Or what's popular.
Yeah, they're popular. But never fear, Sherry had a foolproof plan. She was going to blame the murder on Vera Jo's black boyfriend. You know, the one we've been talking about this whole time.
Right?
Oh, wait. He doesn't exist.
Nope, wait.
That's not a real thing.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Not only that, but police found a mound of evidence in the Brooks home, including Nicole's bloodied shirt, the belt that they were beating her with, and a lock of Vera's hair.
You would think there'd be a lot of evidence at this point around that house that would link to...
Well, she did live there, so only certain things were usable. You know what I mean? Like her blood. That's usable. So
why is this lock covered in Vera's blood?
Yeah, really. Video surveillance also showed Vera Jo walking with Danny, Nicole, and Zachary to the train tracks that evening, so that's quite damning. Danny and Nicole, I guess they were ready to take a life, and they were completely prepared for this because they confessed to the murder pretty early on. And, I mean, like I said, they wanted this. They told police that Sherry drugged Vera Jo and talked them into killing her, even giving them instructions on how to carry it out. Danny and Nicole end up taking plea deals. Danny was sentenced to 40 years to life for murder, and Nicole received 23 years in prison on a conspiracy charge.
A conspiracy
charge.
You can even see in the footage of them leaving the house. You can see. I think it's Danny holding the knife like in the footage.
Yes.
Like, and they're holding it like at her so she won't run away.
Yeah.
And you're like,
but also Nicole was a minor. So you have to take that into consideration.
She was 17
as well.
at the time, yes. Because in the footage she's being tried, and they're like, "How old are you now?" She's like, "I'm 18. How old were you at the time?" 17.
Yeah.
So yeah. And how old's Danny? Like 20 something.
Yes, Danny's quite a bit older than her.
Let's just add another label of piece of shit. Let's just add one more thing to the piece of shit category.
Right. And you may be wondering about Zachary, Vera Jo's husband, I guess, if you could call him that.
Baby daddy.
He was also arrested and sentenced to 4 years in prison on obstruction of justice. I still can't believe that. Just 4 years, man, for all he did to her. I mean, he was the main person to hold her hostage for so long. I mean, Danny and Nicole showed up at the end, and yes, they participated. They deserve to be in prison forever. But Zachary has been torturing her long before that.
Yeah, and
participated in the murder.
Yeah, and you also did not. You haven't heard us say anything about Sherry yet either. The whole monster of this entire neighborhood, this entire town. You didn't hear us give a prison sentence for her yet.
She wasn't charged with a single thing, dude. Not a single thing.
Exactly. It
single
was
thing.
like, what they try and charge her with? Like, it was like giving falsely or misleading information.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tried to charge her with lying. To the
Pretty
cops.
much. And then, they didn't even do that.
It's ridiculous.
But, a little bit of solace, I guess. She and her husband, Kevin Brooks, and another son were convicted of selling prescription drugs in 2014. And Sherry also spent 10 days in jail for contact with a minor while awaiting trial. This is unbelievable. Like, she just a sexual predator, man. Honestly, that's the worst fucking thing.
She
My
is.
God.
She's a monster. Like,
She is.
Her brain is broken, and I understand that she went through some traumatic stuff as a child as well, and she had some horrible things done to her. But at this point, she doesn't live in the real world.
No.
Like, her brain is its own reality.
Yeah. I bet she's keeping a low profile now, because in 2015 she was sentenced to 40 months in federal prison, and of course she's out now. That was that's not quite 4 years. So, yeah, she's out. And as far as baby Willa Dean, she was adopted by a loving family, and as far as we know, is living a happy, healthy life. So
I still don't understand how Zachary at least Zachary is not given something more than just 4 years on obstruction of justice. Like, you have him on camera leaving.
I don't
with
get it,
them.
dude.
He's part of the he abused her for years.
Right.
You have everybody telling them all the beatings, the rape, all the.
It's like,
the
how does he
into.
not even okay? So Danny did the final blow. He's the one that slit her throat. Everybody agrees with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Danny delivered the death blow. Okay, but Zachary still assaulted her, obviously, over and over again. It's like, how does he not at least get aggravated assault, if nothing else, with a deadly weapon?
Yes, or with intent to harm, intent to cause
Intent to
bodily
kill.
harm, intent to
Literally.
maim, like something. You are literally. They literally put this woman through hell. And guys, there will be some pictures that we show on the video, and there will be some other things you've seen throughout this time. But there's one picture of Vera that just stayed with me throughout this whole thing. It's that picture of her that they showed of her like rubbing Sherry's feet.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, it's like a POV picture of Vera from Sherry's point of view, and she just looks like a ghost.
She's defeated.
Like, she has no color left in her face. She has no life left behind her eyes, and she's just down there like a broken person. Like, it is one of the most heartbreaking pictures, because it's not like one of those pictures of like, oh, just before tragedy happens,
Yeah.
or just before death. It's like this was just going on.
Yeah.
And they did not see, like, yes, they were afraid because they wanted her to hide from everybody else. They would like make her hide when people came over, or they would not let her talk to people. But like, at the same time, they would take a picture of this. They would brag, like, amongst themselves, this is something to be proud of.
They liked having their live-in slave, man. They liked having, and two, when you had, now that Sherry had Vera Jo to do her bidding, and her, rubbing her feet and bullshit like that, none of the boys had to do it.
Yeah,
They're
that
glad
too.
about that. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention, the Brooks boys at one time or another had their way with Vera Jo. That was known. Like I said, the only person in that whole house that didn't touch Vera Jo was Kevin Brooks Sr., and it seemed that everyone agreed on that. When I watched the police interrogations, the interviews, throughout the documentary, everyone, even Scotty, who seemed to kind of be on Vera Jo's side, and he kind of seems to have this underlying hatred for his own family. They're implementing him. I don't know if I didn't hear it for sure, even him, but I do know the night Vera Jo was going to be killed, she asked Scotty to go with her because she was terrified. She said, "Please come with me. I don't want to go with them by myself." So Scotty claims that he said, "Okay, let me go upstairs and get my shoes." Well, he went upstairs, he got his shoes, and as he was coming back down, Zachary was waiting for him at the bottom of the stairs. And he said, "Where the fuck do you think you're going?
Yeah.
You're not coming with us." And
Yeah.
so Scotty was like, "Okay,
Okay.
I'm going back to my room," because he's terrified of his older brother. I mean, younger brother, honestly.
Yeah, these guys were not, like, they were young kids, but they were just so violent all the time. And like, you did say there was, like, we don't know for sure, but we do have, like, Sherry, who has openly said that she told, I think it was Nicole, that, oh, you need to watch out for Vera. She'll try and sleep with Danny any chance she gets. She's had her way with she's gone through all of my boys. She slept with everybody in this house.
Yeah, I'm sure that was her choice.
Yeah, and she was telling Nicole that to, like, rile her up and
Of
get
course.
her more aggravated with Vera Jo, even though Nicole didn't even know her. Like I said, Nicole did not even know Vera before this.
No. She just moved in with Danny, her boyfriend, and like I said, they were just two violent people who enjoyed being violent, and it sexually aroused them, which made it even worse.
Yeah.
So it was
It's almost
just
like they were discovering
disaster,
that
bro.
too. It's almost like they were
Yeah.
discovering that while it was happening. It was because this wasn't like somebody who was going out and trying, like we've heard before in the past, like going out to get their sexual satisfaction from violence. Like
Right.
It was like these two were just beating her because Sherry wanted them to, and then they kind of fell into the.
I don't know, man.
Well, not Sherry because Sherry wanted to. It was like
Danny
well,
was already a pretty violent person. It didn't take much.
Yeah, no,
it
that's
just took a
definitely
little
for sure.
in the right direction, and he's gonna
Didn't they say-
attack.
Yeah, they said he beat up a teenager or something like that because the teenager wouldn't give up his swing at a park for his girlfriend.
Yeah.
So he just attacked a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah. This man already has a hairpin trigger, so you have Sherry come when he comes home or whatever. Sherry is just feeding him all these lies and feeding Nicole all these lies about Vera Jo and about everybody else in the world. Just to she's just seeing them as another weapon she can use.
Absolutely.
Because she's overweight. She's confined to a wheelchair. Her feet are decomposing with diabetes.
Right.
She is not a physical threat to anyone.
Right.
But she is a very
You get in reach of that back scratcher.
Yeah, you got to whack a child from a good across the room.
Yeah, seriously.
We all got whacked by a cane once or twice when we were younger. Okay, like somebody,
Yeah,
granddad
yeah.
was just like, get out of the way, whack it.
Yeah, right. Every now and then, sometimes you need to be hit. But
But yeah, not when you're just like touching the thing you're supposed to be doing and you just get hit.
yeah.
But but like I said, she
or
was
trying to
not
care for your own child.
Yeah, that one of the heartbreaking things. They even said like the baby or Willadine would try to go to Vera Jo because it knew.
Of
she
course,
knew that
that's
she
her
was his
mom.
and
Yeah.
But Vera had to be like, no, I'll get in trouble. Like I'll get in
Ooh.
trouble.
And what's crazy in the documentary, Sherry would try to turn that around. She would be like, yeah, when baby Willadine wanted to go see Vera, Vera would always tell her, no, I don't want to touch you.
Yeah,
Get
she'd
away
push
from
her
me.
away.
Get away from me. It's like, well, yeah, because you would beat the shit out of her if she touched her. You
Yeah.
left that part out.
Yeah, like I said, she lives in her own reality. So
Own
in
reality,
her mind,
man.
oh, Vera's pushing that baby away. She doesn't want the baby. Yes,
Yeah.
because you've conditioned her that if she touches the baby, she gets beaten severely.
Yeah.
And like we've said repeatedly, this Vera does not have the mental maturity of a 24-year-old.
No.
She has severely learning disability. She has a handicap in her mental state to where she's like a child, and they
Yeah.
are just treating her like an animal, like not even a child, an animal.
Yeah, she is. They are. This is an awful case, guys. I'm like I said, God, if you haven't heard of it, you can go down the rabbit hole if you like. If you want to scar your brain, watch Goodnight, Sugar Babe. If you want to, I watched it twice. I had to. It was so damn confusing, honestly.
Is that what that bottle of bleach is over there for later on?
Yeah, that's for my eyes.
Yeah,
actually.
I thought so. You're
Yeah.
just gonna put it in the eye wash station.
No, I've talked about it before on the show. I'm very good at dividing my life up and compartmentalizing the different things that I have to do. So this is going right in the wastebasket when I get done with this because it's
this
a
one's not
brutal
getting saved
case.
in the hard
I
drive.
feel gross. I need to take a shower after this case, man. It is rough. It is
I
rough.
did not like researching for this one. I didn't
No.
like having to try and just to remember, like just to think about these things. And that is one thing that is kind of good about doing this podcast now is that like there aren't that many things about this, and hopefully it does bring some more light to the
That is
case
true.
because there, like we said, there were some grave misjustices done here. Like
Yes, there were.
these things should never have happened to Vera Jo. And the fact that, Sherry only got a slap on the wrist, and her
Listen,
kids
her-
even say she just always gets a slap on the wrist. She never gets any punishment.
No.
So it's
Because
like there
she's
was-
not physically doing these things. She's just enacting them. She's just putting them into action. But I mean, the police failed Vera Jo. Her own family failed her. And, I mean, so what did you expect from these other people who take advantage of whoever comes into their life? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, these guys were just
It's
a little,
brutal.
just terrifying, almost gang family in this
Yes.
small town, little southern area.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vera Jo is like you did that whole episode about crime mom or gang mom.
Yeah.
This woman is genuinely like a gang mom, except it's
She
like,
is, right?
She's not actually associated with other gangs. She's
Yeah.
just running her own little
She's running her-
deadly family.
Allegedly Crips. I
Yeah.
mean, so
And she even
I
said,
don't know.
Whenever I think it was Scotty, I think Scotty was one of the ones in the interview saying that, like, yeah, Mom came up with the cover story for all of us. Like she said, it was right before it happened or something. She's saying, well, I hope they don't kill her, but if they do, we gotta come up with a story, so we gotta protect the family. Like she's even saying the lines like a mob boss would say. We gotta protect the family.
That's right. It's awful, dude.
No, and
Absolutely
she is
awful.
she does not live in our world. She is in her own little dark fantasy in her brain where she thinks
she's in Sugar Babe world, bro.
She is, and that she thinks that she is helping, that she's saving, that she is the hero or whatnot. I don't know what she really thinks she is, but she is. Something's broken with that one.
Absolutely. Like I said, we got to get cleaned up after this case. Maybe reapply some Oh My Gaia.
Oh God,
you know what I'm saying?
You. Yes, that'll get the taste out of my mouth.
Wait, Andy, stop eating Oh My Gaia.
It's so good, though.
I swear to God.
It smells so good.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about an innovative all-natural deodorant, fragrance, and beard oil company that specializes in paraben and aluminum-free products. Their innovative line of deodorants inhibit the growth of odor-causing bacteria while still maintaining effectiveness. And guys, Oh My Gaia has tons of scents to choose from to freshen you up from this case, like vanilla, cherry almonds, sandalwood, lavender, lemongrass, Egyptian musk, coconut, dreamsicle, leather, lumberjack, honeysuckle, fireside, bergamot, amber, pear, sweet pea, sailor, barbershop.
Is
that enough?
They're just
Is that
everywhere.
enough?
Just coming at me everywhere.
And don't forget True Crime Pine.
Oh yes.
Right in the noggin. True Crime Pine, guys, made just for us, the True Crime Guys. And because you are True Crime Guys listeners, you can use the code CREEPER for 15% off your order. That's CREEPER, CREEPER, for 15% off at shop_ohmygaia on Instagram or ohmygaia.com. That's OHMYGAIA.com. Guys, again, use code word CREEPER for 15% off. And you can use code word CREEPER for our other sponsor, Tonic CBD, for 20% off. Andy, you want to talk about Tonic?
I want to talk about Tonic all the time because Tonic keeps us vibing on this show, man.
Indeed.
Tonic keeps everybody vibing, especially creepers, man. Because it's true that not all CBD products are created equal. From how the hemp is grown and processed to how it's formulated or delivered into your body. That's why Tonic's products really stand out with original formulas using CBD, adaptogens, herbs, and superfoods, and has only been working to deliver the most effective, intentional, and sustainable products possible. Tonic does cultivate their own hemp on a certified organic family farm in upstate New York. We should go sometime. I want to go.
That'd be great.
But that hemp only travels 30 minutes to their distribution facility where it's turned into their finished product and sent to you, our creepers.
Yes.
Ensuring only the highest quality vibes at every stage of the process. So the next time, guys, when we do have like a more upbeat episode, you can just have a bunch of that Tonic vibes right there and just in a better mind space.
Absolutely.
Because with
I mean, it'll help with this too.
It might help you clear some of that stuff.
It might soothe you out a little bit.
Get some of that chill.
Yeah,
You
get
need
some of that
this.
chill, man.
But with values rooted in quality, integrity, and sustainability, Tonic is committed to creating plant-based wellness products that are good for the people and good for this planet, which I will soon rule.
That, hopefully.
Yes, that's my whole gain. That's my whole plan for this podcast.
That's why you came on the podcast?
Remember
to rule the world?
Yes. We're also going to start our MLM cult.
Yes.
And then we're going to start our world domination.
That is very true.
But first, the MLM cult.
Right. First, we just need to promote our podcast.
True.
Yeah.
But guys, visit tonicvibes.com to learn more and use code word CREEPER for 20% off your order, just like Michael told you. That is 20%, or it's code word CREEPER for 20% off your order at tonicvibes.com.
That's right. All right, guys, that's pretty much all we got for you today. If you want to check out the sources, and if you want to check out the documentary Goodnight, Sugar Babe, it is linked right below the description of this episode, like we do every single week. Also, there's other articles and things that we use. There's other videos. There's interrogations by police of certain family members and friends who are involved. You can find those videos on YouTube as well. I'm sure I probably used some in the some audio in the intro. But guys, if you like what we're doing here, if you like True Crime Guys Productions, please consider supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/True Crime Guys. Like we said, right now we are offering 7-day free trials, and for just $5 a month, you guys can get access to everything we make here at True Crime Guys Productions. Okay, that's a show nearly 4 days a week, not counting Sandu Stories that comes out bi-weekly. All right, and also, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe. If you haven't checked us out on YouTube, please check out the YouTube channel. Subscribe, say hi, leave a comment. We appreciate that very much. Leave a review wherever you listen to the show, as well as subscribe, okay? Check us out on social media at True Crime Guys, and if you have a suggestion, hit us up.
Absolutely, guys.
Anything else?
You guys should stick in. Come back some more for some JTBs, because we're going to start doing some more JTBs on those Patreon platform.
That's right.
Start doing some live streams.
Yes, there will be a live stream. Thank you, Andy. There will be a live stream JTB every first Thursday of every month. The first Thursday of every month. Does that make sense? The first Thursday of every month, we will do a live Q&A for JTB. We usually put up a participation post on Patreon, where we just ask for questions, comments, anything you want to say, if you want to get in on the show, and then we read those on the show, and then you hear them at a later date. But with the Q&A, live Q&A, obviously you'll be able to, you'll get a link right through Patreon if you're a $5 and up patron, and then you'll be able to message us live while we're talking on the show. There's JTB 100 is already available on Patreon if you guys want to check that out, see how that format is. We will be using the mics next time. We used our camera mic last time, and it was okay, but we probably will put out an audio version as well this time. There is no audio version of JTB 100, unfortunately, so if you're wondering where that is, that's where it is. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. We'll be back next week.
I believe so.
Yeah, Lord willing.
You keep telling me to come back.
The creek don't rise and all that good stuff.
You keep making me come back.
You live here now.
I know.
All right, guys. Keep creeping. We'll see you next week.
Bye. If you've enjoyed this episode, please feel free to check out all the other shows on our TCG network, as well as subscribing to our YouTube channel. Starting every Monday with new episodes of Strange and Unexplained, followed every other Tuesday by our audio drama podcast, Sandu Stories. Then, of course, new episodes of True Crime Guys every Wednesday. And if that's not enough, head on over to our Patreon, where you can have access to hundreds of hours of exclusive content, including older episodes, strange shorts, the latest edition of Sandu Stories, and, of course, higher thoughts. But until next time, guys, keep creeping.
You hush your mouth, boy.